Well, welcome everybody. My name is Guy Crusoe. I work for the Institute on Disabilities at Temple University, and I sit on the PennTash board. So it's great to have you here today. If you'd like, in the chat, which is on the bottom of the screen, you can put your name, where you're from, and also maybe what role you're in, a student, a family member, an educator in another capacity. And again, the chat function is the bottom of the screen. We thank you for joining us today for this presentation. And that's called Technology That Empowers, Redefining Independence for Every User. And we're happy to have Bekah Nesbitt here with us today, Assistive Technology Coordinator for Pennsylvania's Assistive Technology Act, the AT Act program. And she's with TechOWL. And we're here to learn about the local and free assistive technology resources, how assistive technology plays a pivotal role in accessibility, and ways AT can help someone become or stay independent. There's closed captioning on the bottom of the screen if you need closed captioning. And also, we'd love your questions, and you can put those in the questions and comments in the bottom as well. So for those who may not know of us, we are PennTash. We're a chapter of National Tash, an organization that advances equity, opportunity, and inclusion for persons with disabilities. Our chapter is a voice for inclusion, advocacy at the local, state, and national level. We'd love you to join Tash, and this is where you can register, and also you can follow us on there as well. Every year, TASH has a conference, and we're thrilled this year that it's going to be in Philadelphia on December 3rd through 5th. It's a conference that has professionals, educators, family members, people with disabilities, folks who work in state systems and whatnot there. So we hope you can join us at the conference, and there'll be at the end of the presentation, you'll see a link for that. So again, I'd really like to introduce Bekah Nesbitt. She is an Assistive Technology Coordinator for TechOWL, PA's Assistive Technology Act program. Through her employment at CLASS, she promotes accessibility and assistive technology solutions across 7 counties in and around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She is a certified speech language pathologist as well. She's as well as a direct support professional and adjunct faculty at the University of Pittsburgh School of Health and Rehab Sciences. And what we hope you take away from listening to Bekah today is to learn about TechOWL's mission, their services, and their statewide impact, to better understand how assistive technology fosters autonomy, independence, and self-determination, and be able to apply the social model of disability to AT delivery by recognizing environmental and systemic barriers and by identifying inclusive practices that promote equitable access to technology. So with no further ado, Bekah, welcome. We're looking forward to listening to you today.
Thank you, Guy. Thanks everyone for having me. I'm really looking forward to sharing my information tonight. So let me go ahead and get my screen share popped up and we'll be off to the races. Okay, lovely. Can everyone see that?
There you go.
There we go. Okay, now it's spotlighted. Perfect. Well, hello everybody. Welcome. As Guy so nicely introduced me, my name is Bekah. We're going to be chatting about TechOWL and assistive technology tonight. As a visual description, I'm a young woman with blonde hair. I'm wearing a brown shirt, and I will make sure to provide a visual description of pertinent photographs throughout the slideshow as well. So again, I'm the Assistive Technology Coordinator. I got my Assistive Technology Professional license. I've been at CLASS for about 3 years now, but I started out my career in speech language pathology. So I still do both. I still see kiddos and adults, but my main job is assistive technology, and I love it so much. It's such a fun and exciting career field. As Guy mentioned, I'm adjunct faculty, I'm a direct support person, and I do home modification assessments for Allegheny County. So I always laugh. My fiance so nicely said that he'd do my taxes this year. And he said, "Where's your W-2?" And I said, "Which one?" Because I have 7 jobs. So bad on him for trying to do that all. Next year we will hire somebody, but that's a little bit about me. All right, so let's jump right into what assistive tech is. Okay, so a lot of times when I jump into this content area, people get left in the dust because assistive technology is such a large umbrella and the definition is a bit expansive. So I like to kind of start with bare bones of what is assistive tech, just so we can all kind of start on the same page. So most people think of assistive tech as a device, right? It's any piece of equipment that can help somebody with a disability function more optimally or independently, right? But the second part of the assistive tech definition is service. And I personally and professionally this year have really been focusing on that service element of assistive tech delivery. Just looking at how we can clean up systems of delivery for assistive tech, what that means to be somebody who helps somebody learn about what's out there. So it's not just the device, it's the service that helps somebody acquire assistive tech as well. And we will chat more about all of that today. I have a photo of basic types of devices like hearing aids and glasses, adapted silverware, crutches, things of that nature. But as stated, assistive tech has a really large umbrella, right? So it's a spectrum. And I think that this is really important to talk about that there's a mix of low, mid, and high tech, and really any and everything in between too when it comes to assistive technology. So um, on the right-hand side of the screen, I have a picture of a notebook and a pencil. This is considered assistive tech. It's a cognitive aid, right? You should see my desk at work. It's all of these notes, things in written down, to-do lists, sticky notes. Those help us keep things top of mind. They help with memory. So that is considered assistive tech. When you think low assistive tech, think easily accessed. So you're not going to need a lot of training. It's pretty available and it's cheap too. But then we get into mid tech, and that can be something right in the middle where it's like it's an ergonomic keyboard. It helps with wrist alignment when you're using your hands to type. You might need a little bit of help in training, but like mostly it's still intuitive. It's starting to cost a little more, but it's available. And then we get into the left-hand side of the screen, which is super high tech. And I swear, when I say I do assistive technology, I think people think that this is what I do, like a room full of glass screens and high-tech touch and voice control. That is part of what I do, but that is not all of it. Again, this spectrum is all across the board. So, high tech would just mean you need a lot of training. It's not super intuitive. It's probably going to be expensive. You might need some support with funding, and it's not easily on the market or available. It's something that you're going to need to work with a professional to acquire. So, when we say assistive tech, try not to let your mind go to just the high tech end of things. Keep in mind, it is a large spectrum. So now I'm going to get into technology for our whole lives, or TechOWL. We are Pennsylvania's Assistive Tech Act program. That just means that the government allots every state a certain amount of funding each year to help folks with assistive tech. So there's a TechOWL in every state. It's just going to be called something different. A hint, I think Pennsylvania has the best name, TechOWL. Everybody else is like Ohio Assistive Tech. It's pretty straightforward. If you've been around long enough, we used to be known as PIAT, but essentially we come through the Assistive Tech Act of 1988, and that supported grant-funded initiatives to help address assistive tech needs by state. So TechOwl does come through Temple University's Institute on Disabilities in Philadelphia. On the next slide, we'll chat more about that. But really, TechOwl's purpose is to educate, train, and just help people in the state with assistive technology. Okay, so a little bit more on the specifics. You may hear the term ATRC, or Assistive Technology Resource Center. So we're looking at the state of Pennsylvania, right? So when you hear TechOwl, you think entire state of PA. They need a way to zone us representatives for TechOwl throughout the state. So there are 9 of me doing TechOwl bidding throughout the state of Pennsylvania. I cover 7 counties in and around Allegheny. So all the yellow on the map here that you see is my territory. But again, there are lots of me helping out with TechOwl throughout the state. And again, our main location is at Temple, but as long as you're a Pennsylvania resident, you will be eligible for everything I discussed today. And lastly, I put in a picture of something called AT3 Center. That's a way to find your Assistive Tech Resource Center by name. So again, if you want to figure out what about West Virginia or what about Florida, what is their TechOWL, you can go to AT3 Center and look up by state the grant funded state initiative to help out with assistive tech. So I always find this helpful for people who work with clients or patients in different states, maybe family members even. My grandpa had a stroke last year and he's in Florida. So I found AT3 Center, Florida, tried to get him some durable medical equipment, which we'll chat about later. Kind of to wrap up this slide with the ATRC, I like to explain the partnership between class and TechOwl. So they need somewhere to put me at TechOwl to cover all of that yellow region. They usually house us in local nonprofits, community-based organizations, and that's where CLASS comes in. CLASS stands for Community Living and Support Services. It's a nonprofit right in the city of Pittsburgh that helps folks with disabilities. We have lots of different programs. We have residential, we have vocation programs. We have programs for MS or folks with traumatic brain injury, all types of stuff. But I am an employee of CLASS, so that's kind of my home base. So when you hear Assistive Tech Resource Center, that's going to be the nonprofit that holds the TechOwl representative in your region. So I am a full CLASS employee, full TechOwl employee, but I am kind of the assistive tech wing of CLASS doing all of the TechOwl things for my region. I hope that makes sense and I can explain more. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. We'll get to them. Okay, I won't spend too long on this. I just think it's important to note that as technology advances, so does assistive technology. So, not just when we think of broad tech, when we think of tech that helps folks with disabilities. 1998 is really, I think, the year that AT was kicked off mostly. And it's the same year that Google was founded. And we continue to see that with lots of reauthorizations along the way. And I think we will continue this, especially as AI, artificial intelligence, is increasing in our daily life. Okay, so a little bit more about the Assistive Tech Act, which again is the funding and the coverage that TechOwl works under. So with that said, I think it's important to talk about the foundation of the Assistive Tech Act. So unlike earlier policies, this act emphasizes direct access for individuals rather than just institutional support. So how do we do that? By empowering users. We want people to test out, trial, get hands-on time with access to assistive tech solutions without relying on service providers or institutions. This is super important to talk about and something that I had to learn kind of trial by fire as I transitioned out of speech therapy. So, as a medical-based speech therapist, my mindset, the lens, the cap I was wearing was, what's wrong with you? How do I write it down? What's the code? How do I fix it? And what's my therapy strategy to get this done in 12 units before I reapply to insurance? Like it is that nitty gritty, right? Like what's wrong? Let's fix it. The social model prioritizes environmental things, right? So, like, how do we remove barriers, provide tools for people, emphasize inclusion and independence? So, the social model really focuses on a user-centered experience. We want the person with the disability, to the best of their ability, to consent, to participate, to voice their opinions and concerns. We want them at the center of decision making. We want to take the complete decision making capabilities out of tertiary prospects, right? Like we don't want somebody, maybe a distant family member or somebody in the medical system, to tell the person what is best for them. They are the user. They will know. And I have been humbled in this regard tons of times where I think I know what might work best for somebody. I recommend it. And there's always that human error that pops up where it's like, oh, darn, that wasn't a great solution for this person for whatever reason. But the person who uses assistive tech will know what they like and what they don't. And they should be at the center of decision making. Whereas, again, that medical model says, we're going to find out what's wrong with you. We're going to tell you what it is, and we're going to tell you how to fix it. Social model looks at it the opposite way. So this is briefly to describe a little bit of Pennsylvania's Tech First initiative. If you live in Pennsylvania, that means you are covered by a state that cares about assistive tech. There are a lot of new initiatives coming out to try to get healthcare workers, different companies, and just the industry as a whole to prioritize assistive technology and keeping it top of mind instead of throwing out assistive tech as kind of like a last-ditch effort and when somebody is so far down the plane of care. So outcomes when assistive tech is top of mind. Number one, you have cohesion between workers. People know what's going on. Number two, aging in place safely. Man, is that a hot topic right now? How do we keep folks living at home independently with a disability, regardless of their age? Increased autonomy and independence for the AT user, and a decrease in stigma or attitudinal barriers. So, assistive tech inclusion is thinking that assistive tech is expensive, challenging to use, assistive tech is burdensome. When we start figuring out how to help somebody with assistive tech in mind, that kind of reduces some of those barriers of like, oh, this solution is really burdensome, let's not go there. Um, and that floats into when assistive technology is too late, right? So these are real world examples that I run into. I got these right from my own personal experience. So here are some examples when we think of assistive tech too late in the process. So number one, the discharging patient. A person leaves the hospital tomorrow. Whoops, do they need a shower chair? How are they going to independently answer the door or cook a meal? Are they safe to live at home alone again? Sometimes we think of that right when the patient is leaving. This also happens in the IEP process. Transition age IEPs start at about 14, 15, right? And then once the student actually leaves, all of their assistive tech has to stay with the school because the school bought it. And so sometimes we don't think ahead to, hey, once this kiddo leaves the school, how are they still going to have access to the assistive technology that they need? So that would be considered a failure that we didn't think of assistive tech transition, early enough in the process. Another example is just aging in place. So, an 80-year-old lives at home alone, but her adult children worry about her safety. What if there was a fire at night and she can't hear the alarm? I tell families this all the time, like, why wait to introduce assistive tech when something goes wrong or mom gets hurt, right? Solutions should be flexible with prognosis. So, right now you have an independent 80-year-old living at home with hearing loss. She takes her hearing aids out at night. She can't hear anything. If there's an emergency, why are we waiting for that to happen to introduce assistive tech? If everybody's kind of walking on eggshells waiting for something to happen, let's introduce it. And lastly, company awareness. You receive a call from a family needing local resources for smart home technology. You know there must be solutions out there, but where? You refer to a resource you do not know much about and without any specific contact. I refuse to refer people to organizations locally that I don't know or don't have a good contact with. Luckily, in the Pittsburgh area, it's a pretty close-knit assistive tech sphere. But I think that that's just really important, knowing your resources. When we're just kind of referring people out on a wing and a prayer, that's not helpful. We want to put technology first, and knowing local resources is the start of that. Okay, so now we're going to chat a little bit about service delivery and some more foundational concepts of TechOWL. Okay, so last year, which is crazy to say, the years are flying by. But last year, I was a panelist at it was a conference for mostly UPMC members, I believe, and it was just about healthcare and communication, disability in the healthcare space. So this is a slide from it, and I just think it's really important to go over. So, just like when we say assistive technology, when we hear technology, our mind conjures up an image of like something super high tech, right? The same happens when I say I'm a speech therapist. People think I treat R's all day, right? Treat somebody who has challenges saying they're R's. That's true, and I've done a lot of R intervention therapy, but speech therapists all do like they also can do swallowing rehabilitation, cognitive communication, I mean, language, you name it. There's so many things that fall under the scope. And I think the same thing happens when we say disability. Our mind conjures up an image of somebody with a physical disability. Yes, that is part of the disability spectrum, but disability is in fact a spectrum, and there are many invisible disabilities. Examples of that would be like speech and language disorders, dyslexia, even mental health challenges, traumatic brain injury, things that if you would look at somebody, you wouldn't always know that they have a disability. Real accessibility isn't waiting for somebody to have to disclose their disability status to make sure that they have access to information or an environment. We want to make things as accessible as possible, regardless if somebody is advocating or denoting their disability publicly. This can also lead to masking, and masking is really just when somebody with a non-visible disability pretends to not be disabled or to have the challenge that they might have. So, an example I always give is somebody with autism might need to self-stimulate by flapping their hands or rocking back and forth. Some folks on the autism spectrum choose not to do that in public for fear of social anxiety or, seeming like they're different or just nervousness in that capacity. So we don't want people to mask. We want them to be who they are and to express themselves as they are. And so it's important to remember that assistive technology doesn't just help people with physical disabilities. Again, walkers, wheelchairs, all that jazz. Yes, those are assistive tech devices, but this spectrum goes far beyond that. And also the invisible disabilities that can risk someone's life. Sometimes someone is 3 times more likely to die of an adverse medical event that was preventable if they have a communication related disability. The same thing happens in our pediatric population. So it's just important to remember that not all disabilities are visible and to advocate for all. Okay, I usually use this as a little kind of time to break up me yapping at you guys for too long, but everybody else is muted, so I'm just going to answer this and to show you kind of my examples. Context versus content. So a big part of my job is listening to people. And hint, if you work with people at all, that should be a big part of your job. And this slide is all about the meaning being equally as important as the setting that somebody is saying something in, right? So the context. And here's a little exercise that I like to do. So when we talk about not just what somebody is saying, but the context and what they're saying it, this is a great example of how the meaning changes. So if somebody says, I don't know what to do, but they're a mom of 5 children under the age of 10, you can insinuate that maybe the mom saying, I don't know what to do means she's overwhelmed. She has so many kids, she's going to lose her mind. She just doesn't know what to do. A person newly diagnosed with a life-threatening diagnosis or disability, if they say, I don't know what to do, maybe they're feeling fear. Maybe they're feeling like existential dread, right? I don't know what's next. How long do I have? What does my life look like? But a man in his late 80s who has not utilized nearly any technology, if he says, I don't know what to do, maybe he literally means, hey, I don't know how to use this. I don't know what to do when it comes to this device. And a 9-year-old girl with dyslexia. Maybe she says, I don't know what to do, and she means she doesn't know what to do socially. She's worried about seeming like she doesn't understand something in front of her peers and classmates. If she's self-conscious, she just doesn't know what to do next. Um, I kept the sentence the same, but the meaning of all of those words changed based on the context that each person said that quote in. And so I just think it's a great reminder for us as service providers and anybody just working with others. It's not just about the meaning, it's about the setting that somebody is saying something in. This is also foundational in assistive technology service delivery and provision. We have a model that we base all of our assistive tech usage under, and we kind of have a picture of all these different attributes, but it's on a bubble that sits under something called context. So that's really important for us in the assistive tech sphere. Continuing here, I want to caveat this slide by saying that what I have written down here is broad strokes. Every person is individual. If you've met one person with Down syndrome, you've met one person with Down syndrome, right? Same goes for all people. I just wrote these down as examples of things that I have noticed in my service delivery and kind of as a generalization, like to share because it really is some lifespan experiences and differences. So number one, for the aging network with a newly acquired disability later in life. So let's say a 70-year-old has been sighted all their life and now they're experiencing vision loss. They have new macular degeneration. A lot of times, a person like that might see assistive technology as a failure or having a disability even as a failure. Sometimes this population does not want to be seen as needy, and it's harder to figure out what life can be like next after acquiring a disability later in life. There's often a grief period. There's often just a different mindset that goes into using assistive tech solutions. Again, not for every person's individual, but this is vastly different than somebody who might be born with a disability. Early onset of their disability in the lifespan, or that, it's congenital, but sometimes AT use is more normalized from a young age. I was speaking with our Pentash staff over here. And we were just talking before the presentation began about, as a speech therapist, I go in home and work with adults with intellectual disability and I help them use communication devices. A lot of times I'm the first person to introduce a communication device to these guys. But I also work in pediatric outpatient, and all of my 3-year-olds with like severe autism or something that a disability that makes it challenging for them to verbalize their expression, they all have a communication device. It's not even a thought. Like everybody has one. If you're even a bit delayed, a bit whatever it is, you're getting a communication device. And so that's different. Like AT is more normalized from a young age nowadays, and it's more integrated into the day. It's less stigmatized. The school systems, thankfully, are catching on to this. So I know that we have a lot of work to do in this field, but it is just important to think like the different lifespan experiences. Again, as technology is increasing, users like our really young kiddos experience technology differently, especially as they have a use assistive tech related to their disability. So just important to remember that user-centered service delivery starts with understanding their lifespan experiences and their individual opinions. Okay, a little bit of the fitting process. So getting into what I do. I want to keep it individualized and user-centered. We went over that. It can be a mix of low, mid, or high tech. I don't really care what it is. I just want it to be helpful. And my job is to help people understand what's out there and to make a good decision. So let's say that you like a certain type of device, but it's really expensive. Well, let's chat about like, well, what features of the device are deal breakers for you? Can we find something else very similar to it that's maybe cheaper? Those things. And it doesn't matter, if I'm working with somebody that would prefer like low tech, that's fine too. Everything doesn't have to be super high tech and super fancy. Also, number 3 here, basic questions, right? Has the individual used assistive tech in the past? What are they motivated by? What's their support system? We can recommend the best device in the world that would actually help somebody. But if somebody, a user with a disability, doesn't have a good support system, often that assistive tech experience just isn't going to be there. A lot of assistive technology requires a good support system to help with training, using every day, maybe calibrating, troubleshooting, that sort of thing. So the more support somebody has, the more likely they are to hold on to assistive tech instead of abandon it. And really, I'm just here to help empower people. I don't want to sway decisions or show bias towards a brand or manufacturer. I'm just here to help you discover what's out there and then funding sources for what you're looking for. Okay, so we are going to get a little bit into the nitty-gritty of TechOWL now. TechOWL does not sell anything, so this is kind of a housekeeping slide before we dive in. We don't sell anything. We're not a manufacturer. You can't buy anything from our library of devices if you like something. We'll get into how you acquire something if you like it, don't worry. TechOWL does not pay for ongoing costs or subscriptions. So phone plans, apps with ongoing subscriptions, we don't pay for things like that ongoing. And then your assistive tech coordinator is here to help guide you to the appropriate TechOWL program. So that's me. I'm here to help with understanding, hey, where should we go? When should we go to private grant funding versus insurance versus maybe like borrowing something out? Things like that. Okay, a little more nitty gritty. So Let's start with the free phone program. This makes up a large portion of what I do at TechOWL. The free phone program is for individuals in the state of Pennsylvania that demonstrate a challenge with distance communication. So, my biggest caveat is this is not a program for somebody who has a lower socioeconomic status, right? If you have a challenge affording a phone, this is not a program for you. This is for somebody who demonstrates a challenge using their phone, either to text or make calls related to a disability. Now, with that being said, we don't need a diagnosis or a doctor's script. We don't need anything like that. Again, think back to that social model. We do want to take the medical system out of these decisions. So we don't need a doctor's script or anything insurance based, but we just need to hear why is it challenging to use either your current phone or you don't have a phone that meets your needs. Another reason why we don't really care about a diagnosis is it's more about what your challenge is rather than the name itself. So the example I give is MS, multiple sclerosis, right? Me knowing that you have MS is a little helpful, but also how is it manifesting for you? There are different types of MS. People experience the symptoms differently, even from day to day, week to week. So it's more of hey, I'm getting cognitively fatigued, right? That's great for me to know. Or I'm having challenges using my hands. That's great for me to know. So it's less about the name of your disability and more of what area is of challenges making it hard for you to use the phone. There's a bit of eligibility standards for this. Single income household cannot exceed about $33,000 a year. Um, this program is to keep the phone, and it's one of our only programs with eligibility requirements that are financial. So we can get into that a little more if you have questions. But essentially, you would just call or email me if you or someone you know would be interested in the program. I call and set up a demo. So I will meet with the person one-on-one and talk about their needs. Let's demonstrate a few options, compare and contrast. I help people apply. And then if they are eligible and the phone comes, I sit back down with them for up to 2 hours and provide setup training support. We never, ever, ever want to just throw a solution at someone and say hey, this iPhone's great for you. Bye. That's not helpful, and that doesn't lead to good assistive tech usage and retention. So part of my contract, part of my job here at TechOwl is to make sure that users understand how to actually operate what we're providing for them. We will talk a little bit more on the next slide about smartphones, but all of our landlines go up to about 50 decibels, so lots of amplification for hearing loss. Some of them do captioning, so dictation, whatever someone says, it will write it down. We also have accessories like this bed shaker. It shakes someone awake if they take their hearing aids out at night and somebody calls, it will vibrate their pillow awake. We can connect that to an alarm clock. We can connect that to smart fire alarms for emergency and preparedness type of things. But a lot of what we're doing is really smartphones nowadays. So we do have Androids and Apples. Pretty much, there are so many features that come on these phones that people don't know about. So I have an iPhone, so that's what I'm going to talk about. If anybody here has an iPhone, if you go into your settings, scroll down until you see a blue icon that says accessibility. This phone divides disability by category. So here's all the things this phone can do for somebody with vision loss, with physical motor, access challenges, hearing loss, speech and communication. This phone costs over $1,000 because all of this software comes with the phone. It's just turned off. All you have to do is go in and turn certain features on that would help you with your disability. And so I have some examples here, like live captions. This phone can dictate everything someone says out loud or over a call so that somebody can read along who has hearing loss. That's awesome. It can connect to your hearing aids. So calls and videos streamed can go directly into a user's hearing aids. This phone also has eye tracking now, so you can use the phone only with your eye gaze, which is so cool. I did this the other day. There's live speech, there's vocal shortcuts, personal voice. Pretty much you can record yourself saying a few different prompts, and this phone will synthesize your voice so that when you type something out, it'll be said in your voice. This is great for our like ALS community, right? Neurodegenerative diseases where somebody's going to lose the ability to verbally communicate. You can record your voice so that when you type things out, it will say it in your voice. Um, so many things like that. I think the biggest thing that I use this iPhone with is Siri. As simple as it is, the phone can be across the room and you can say, "Hey Siri, call Bob." Phone will call Bob. "Hey Siri, text Bob." She'll say, "Okay, what do you want me to say?" And then she'll, you tell her word for word. You can pick up calls with your voice, hang up calls with your voice. There's just so many things that help people with low vision, hard of hearing, physical touch and motor. One of my favorite apps that I always love to shout out is Seeing AI. If you haven't heard of it, you must. It's so great. It's a free app. Again, Seeing, Seeing AI. It's a free app. Essentially, wherever you point the phone, it will describe environments for you. So you can put it in read mode or describe mode, but you just point your camera at something and the phone with AI will scan it and it will give you a verbal description of what it sees. Great for somebody with low vision or blind. It will describe environments. It can read off papers when you're at the grocery store and you need to know small print on the back of something. All of those things. And again, that's free. Anybody can use that. So there are tons and tons of things that these smartphones do. I won't get too deep into the weeds, but that is part of what we do. Again, TechOWL pays, if you're eligible, pays for the new phone and up to 2 hours of help from me. We do not pay for the ongoing phone bill, so consumers will have to pay for that ongoing bill. Most people just transfer their regular monthly bill and payment to this new phone. We just plug the new phone in, so you can keep your phone number. Your bill cost doesn't change monthly, that sort of thing. We can also help recommend low cost providers. AirTalk Wireless is a great government based phone plan for eligible participants, so we are a resource for that. Okay. Okay, the Good Use Program at class. We partner with Global Links and Brothers Brother Foundation. Essentially, we get a surplus of durable medical equipment from hospitals and local organizations, and then we disseminate it individually into the community. So, pretty much you can call or email me anytime and schedule a pickup at class for whatever you need. We have clunky mobility-based equipment. That's the best way I like to describe it. So think walkers, wheelchairs, canes, bedside commodes, raised toilet seats, rollators, all that jazz. Um, just let me know what you need. It's free. Anybody can pick up on behalf of anyone else. The equipment's really nice. Some of it is brand new. Global Links does a great job to make sure that they're tightening up wheelchairs and making sure the brakes are working and things are clean. All of the equipment I would give to my own family members. It's a great program, even though it's secondhand. And I often get asked, like, we don't do power equipment, but sometimes people wanting to donate, I can set them up with somebody wanting to receive a donation and just kind of act as a middleman. I don't do drop-offs because I cover 7 counties, but I am also a bleeding heart. So if somebody really needs something, hopefully we could meet up somewhere in the community halfway. I also have a map of other closets throughout the state. So based on your location, we might be able to find what you need closer to you. Because sometimes, like, out in Indiana, out in like places get out in the weeds compared to Pittsburgh. So there might be something closer. So either way, I'm the best contact for that. If you don't know what we have in inventory, let me know what you need. Hopefully, I can help you out. And I should mention with this DME quickly, this is to keep. All of this equipment is to keep. You're more than welcome to borrow it and donate it back. I also receive donations of equipment. Again, call or email me. All donations must be approved. And when I give something away, I'm expecting not to see it back through the door again, either way. Okay, our next program here is our Assistive Tech Lending Library. This is a huge part of TechOwl. It's just my favorite. It is so, so helpful. Um, TechOwl has a lending library, but instead of books, it's assistive technology. So you can borrow assistive tech for up to 5 to 9 weeks completely for free. We have hundreds of devices across hearing, seeing, feeding, communicating, you name it. You can go online. All of this is user facing at techowlpa.org. You go to the borrow tab, you just make a client profile, let us know who you are and where to ship it, and then you can add items to your cart and check out. When you check out, it's for free. You're just requesting the items. Another great piece of this program is you can borrow up to 3 items at once. This is super helpful because a big part of that social model is try before you buy, that philosophy where like the user gets hands-on time with a device to figure out, compare and contrast, what do you like, what don't you? And so if you're looking for something to help with low vision, like maybe up here there's a picture of a handheld magnifier. If you need something like that, maybe borrow two and just make sure that you like one over the other more. Um, and you have access to me the entire time for demonstrations, trainings, troubleshootings, that sort of thing. We have tried to remove all of the barriers from this program. You can never remove them all, but we've tried our best to remove what we can. Each loan is shipped to you. So you request this online, it ships to Philly. I don't have any lending library devices in my office. So this is all in the mail from Temple University. It ships to you, directly to you. It comes with a package return sticker that's prepaid. So when it's time to come back, I call you and remind you it's due back. You pop the sticker on the front of the box and then you just return it to a UPS. If that is even a challenge for some reason, if UPS isn't close, if you have some type of challenge driving or getting transportation to do that, we can schedule a UPS pickup. So everything is for free. I am calling you when it comes. I call you when it's due back. I'm involved in the process. So this is really just to get items in users' hands to see what works best. Another important mention here is like you don't have to have any sort of challenge or disability to use this. So all of this is not to keep. This is just to borrow for 5 to 9 weeks. But the only eligibility, there's no financial eligibility. You just have to be a Pennsylvanian. So I have a lot of school personnel, family members, staff members, any and everybody just borrows things to see what's out there to keep up to date with like, hey, what assistive tech is out there for somebody who's hard of hearing or needs communication support. All of that is wonderful to just try and to tinker with. So you do not have to be the user of it to experience the assistive tech lending library. I have some photos here of different devices. I'm not going to explain them because I'm going to wrap the presentation up with lots of photos of these exact things and more in-depth information. Okay, so continuing along here, we're getting to the end of programs pretty soon. So um, let's chat about the pipeline of funding. So you borrow something from TechOWL, you know that you want to acquire it yourself. You can't buy it from us and you can't keep the device because you just borrowed it from the library, right? We look at funding sources for long-term acquisition together. So, will insurance pay for it? Probably not because insurance doesn't pay for anything. And like devices, the language of assistive tech gets so muddled with insurance. So, okay, we'll look, but like probably not. Afterwards, we will look at other funding sources. Will a waiver cover this? Are you covered by a waiver that can fund this and support this? And then we look to local grant funded options, right? So Achieva has a wonderful charitable residual program. They can offer, they've given people up to $10,000 for things that they need. Anything that helps promote the life of somebody with a disability. This can include home modifications, car and transportation modifications, accessible vans, assistive tech, whatever it is. Again, that's Achieva's charitable residual program. Achieva also has a wonderful grant fund called the Rosenthal Grant Fund. It's for folks with disabilities to help promote their lives and functional supports in the community. So you can use that fund to request summer camp services, vacations. But I just met with the Chiva staff the other day. They're wonderful. We were talking like assistive tech falls under that category because a lot of people need assistive tech in the community, right? It's not just something you use at home and then you get out in the community and you don't need any of the tech you have. So they often can provide funding for assistive tech. If all of that falls through, TechOwl does have private grant funding. We can get you up to $400 towards any piece of assistive technology. You just have to prove why it's assistive tech. There is some income eligibility for this. Single income household can't exceed in the mid 50,000, so a little bit higher of income eligibility than the free phone program. And you have to, we will send you a direct check for what you say you're going to order. So let's make sure we're calculating shipping and all of those things. But my job is to help people understand, borrow, get some time with the device. Once you know what you want, we can figure out long-term funding and acquisition. Lastly, here on this screen, I can connect. We partner with the National Deaf Blind Equipment Distribution Program. I won't spend too much time on this because it's super niche, but we help folks who are deaf and blind receive services through this program. So I just try to identify people who are eligible or are good applicants at least. They apply. If they are approved, somebody from Visibility visits them. They provide an assessment for what technology needs that person needs. And then they fund all of the things they recommend and train them on how to use it. This is because hearing loss and vision loss, like that comorbid diagnosis, is very niche. It's a super specialized field. You should be working with somebody certified in that area. So we partner with them. Okay, lastly, here for the programs at TechOWL, we do 3D printing. Um, All of our 3D printing for TechOwl is for fine motor. So if you have challenges with pincer, tripod grasp, using your wrist, dexterity, mobility, using your hands for all those small little daily tasks, we have tools that can help you with that. So anybody can order up to 3 items. We have a whole catalog here. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you there. Um, Essentially, it's free up to 3 items a person. So you can go to techowlpa.org. You can go to the Get Something Made tab and look at what we have. Just tell us who you are and where to ship it, and we can do it. Things like bottle openers for twisting motions, right? Something that helps you put your key in the door or clip your nails more accessibly. Something that you hold with your fist, and one side helps you button your shirt, the other side helps you zipper. Little helpful things. So that is something that TechOwl also provides for free. Okay, so to wrap up here, I'm going to take the last portion of our time together this evening to chat about assistive tech by category. I'm going to caveat this with saying I am not a nerdy tech girl. And by that, I mean technology changes so fast for us to get really stuck on specific manufacturers or devices isn't quite worth our time because next month, a lot of this stuff might not even be, the premier thing that we're using next year, what have you. So it's less about the type of device or the manufacturer and more about the foundations and the programs that we talked about. That being said, I do think as I'm talking about tech out, there's still some ambiguity about like, okay, but like, what is it? Like, what devices do you guys have? What's even out there? People don't even know what exists. So I do find it helpful to kind of go by category to just give you kind of a smattering of like, hey, moving and controlling, here are all the devices, just a few of them that can help out. So automatic jar openers, a pull plug, right? And sometimes getting plugs out of the switch is so hard. I don't know why. An Ellis spoon. Now we're using more a different manufacturer like the Guyano, but adapted silverware, things that help people with fine motor challenges. So if somebody has a challenge scooping and bringing food to their mouth, this will stay level and will kind of, the head of the utensil will turn with the person if they have a fine motor challenge to get the food to their mouth without the food falling off. There's also tremor support, so it opposes tremors. So if you're tremoring towards yourself, the spoon head will tremor the opposite way. It will always find the center of gravity so that you can shake and feed yourself without, food falling off. So super independence giving. The OB dining robot, I just got one for my office. This thing is like $13,000. I got one as a demo piece in my office. Check out my LinkedIn. I just took a video using it. It was feeding me apples for lunch the other day. But essentially, it's a self-feeding robot. So you calibrate where the user is sitting in space, and you can use buttons. You push a button, and the robot head scoops food out of the bowl, and then finds where you're at and puts it right in front of your mouth for you to take a bite. I had somebody with cerebral palsy last year be on the wait list for this item to borrow it for so long. And it finally got to him, and he emailed me and he said he was about 16 years old. He said, Bekah, it was the first time I had dinner with my family and mom didn't have to feed me. We all just sat and had dinner as a family. And, mom was nervous, this robot's feeding him. And she's wanting to helicopter, but he did it all on his own, and that's independence giving, especially when we talk about our adolescent population. I had an occupational therapist come into my office for this OB dining robot this week and say, we have an 11-year-old. He's a quadriplegic. He's super popular, but he is feeling really nervous and ashamed at lunchtime because his paraprofessional has to feed him. Can we find a solution? So, can you imagine that kid having access to this at school? I bet every kid in there would be like, whoa, look at this awesome robot that can help feed you. And it's a really great opportunity to demystify disability and assistive tech. Like, hey, yeah, this is awesome. This thing helps me eat. It's a lot better than somebody sitting there and having to, do those things for them. It just reduces autonomy when we have to rely on others a lot. So, just examples of moving and controlling. Lastly, up here, guided hands. You strap your wrist into this contraption and it kind of swivels on an axis and it holds your hand steady so that you can write with less fine motor control. This is great for our cerebral palsy population and lots of others with maybe mobility challenges. Hearing and seeing, top left, I have a picture of a C pen reader. I love this little gadget. It's so simple. It's pretty much a digital pen. You scan any written text with the pen and it will read off what it just scanned out loud. So great for somebody with low vision. Again, this is where I start to say your phone can do almost everything I'm talking about in all of these slides, but not everybody is super high tech or interested in using their phone, right? So a lot of times I'm showing my C Pen reader to maybe like an 80-year-old who I'm like, hey, your iPhone can do this, but he's just not interested in using it. A C Pen reader, he can scan documents, recipes, the mail, it will read it off to him. It's super straightforward. So C Pen reader is a great tool. There's that bed shaker we talked about. There's a MagnaLink tab, which is just a large tablet stand on a desk. These are replacing the CCTVs. So, those bulky, big, like magnification desktops. It's the same thing, only it's just more sleek and it's easier to move around. Those CCTVs kind of have to stay put because they're really heavy. These are more lightweight and can be transported easier. They also have something called OCR, which just means whatever text it sees with the magnification lens, it will read it off. So again, it can read documents just like your phone can, just like the C Pen reader can. And this is where it's important to also get some hands-on time with something because if you come to me and say, hey, I have low vision, I want to read, my first question is going to be, thanks for letting me know what your challenge is, but what's your goal? What do you want to read? Because I would recommend a C Pen reader if you want to read the mail. I would not recommend a C Pen reader if you want to read a book, right? That would maybe be a tablet with reading aloud options or your phone for scanning. So your goal is as important as the challenge that you have. Another one I see here is the OrCam MyEye. It's a little device that magnets onto the side of your glasses and it changes visual input to auditory output. So everything that that little camera lens sees, it's going to say into the person's ear. It will describe environments, it will read things off. The user can utilize hand cues to read, to stop, to go, things like that. It can save contacts. So every time I walk by in front of this OrCam, it will say Bekah into the person's ear because it's seeing me and it's letting the low vision or blind user know. So super great, independence giving. And then a script talk. Look, my little K got to the second line there. It's called a script talk. Again, a free program for people in Pennsylvania. A script talk partners with local pharmacies to help make medication management more accessible. So they send you a little dock that you plug into the wall. When you get your pill bottle from the pharmacy, it's going to come with a little sticker code on the bottom. You turn on the dock when you get home and put your bottle on top of it. You press read and it will read everything off on the prescription bottle. It's not going to tell you if you took 25 of the pill yet, okay? It's going to tell you who it's for, what it is. So a script talk is great for medication management. I can't see these little, the little print. I want to make sure I'm organizing my pill sorter adequately. So script talk is a great function for that. Computers and tech access. So this slide is to just denote that like Physical disabilities should not stop people from accessing online content or technology. As stated, iPhones now have the ability to utilize eye gaze. So you can measure where your eyes are at, wherever you move your gaze, the mouse moves, and then dwell time, how long you look at something, clicks it. So you can do that with computers, tablets, phones, communication devices. We have switch mouses. So there's a picture of a head mouse and a chin mouse. You connect them to your computer, and wherever you move your head or chin, the mouse will move. Glass House has a bite switch. So you bite down and it will click something. And then there's something called augmental mouth pad. It's almost like a retainer that you put on your hard palate, and wherever you move your tongue, it will move a computer mouse. They're working on it for power wheelchairs and lots of other high-tech things too. So amazing for a quadriplegic. Like there are so many ways to access technology other than the traditional looking at something and touching something. So just know there are plenty of ways to still do that if you have physical challenges. Sensory and fidget tools, all of these things help with proprioception. A lot of them do, like our weighted vest. So, a lot of people with autism, especially severe autism, a lot of the kiddos that I'm working with, they have challenges with proprioception, right? So, like, where does my body end and where does space begin? It's a really unsettling feeling, and they're tending to look for a lot of proprioceptive feedback, right? And so a weighted vest helps out with that. It helps people know, oh, like I'm right here and here's space. It helps us feel regulated and ready to learn. Never use any weighted blankets or weighted vests without looking at the instructions or consulting with an occupational therapist. We should not just be putting weighted vests on our littles for extended periods of time without looking at like the weight limit, that sort of thing. Those got kind of trendy recently, and it's just important to know that there are definitely usage instructions and restrictions. Other than that, we have things that help with visual stimulation, noise canceling headphones for if somebody is overstimulated auditorily, fidgets, wiggle cushions, all that jazz. Here is our AAC page. The Go Talk 9 is kind of in that mid-range assistive tech spectrum. So that there's a large button on it where you can press down and record your voice, and then you put your own actual pictures into the slots. So you can record your voice saying something. We would often use this with our kiddos who were kind of new to AAC and they were learning how to use a device effectively. So we'd put a real picture in, like a real picture of our sensory gym, and record our voice saying, go to gym. This is great for somebody post-stroke as well, putting basics on there like ouch, yes, no, more, hungry, things like that. And then there's high-tech devices, right? So a dedicated device is something dedicated just denotes that it's only used for communication. Like it's a device that the only thing it's going to do is help someone communicate. A non-dedicated device means that the device can help somebody communicate, but you can also like watch YouTube or surf the internet, other things, right? A lot of folks are using iPads nowadays with different communication apps. My soapbox for the night is if you are around or know of, or maybe your own child, you should never see a kiddo past the age of 3 who is completely nonverbal and doesn't have a form of alternate communication. Somebody has failed that child. So we used to wait, and there was a lot of language around like communication readiness for kids with disabilities. Now, we don't have signs that somebody's ready to communicate. We give them access to communicate and then help them do so. Nowadays, we are introducing alternate communication as early as like 2. Early intervention for speech usually starts at the earliest around 18 months if a kiddo is not saying their first word yet. That delay grows quickly by the time they're 3. But if somebody's completely non-speaking, it's okay if they're not like the master of a communication device or they're not using sign language perfectly. I just mean to say, are they being followed by a speech therapist? Have we addressed functional communication? Maybe even using pictures, maybe even using whatever it is. I would flip the table and bite you as well if I was 6 years old and had no functional way to communicate. So it's not a shock that we see challenging behaviors when we have not given kiddos the access to communicate. So it's just really important that we are not waiting to introduce these things. Wrapping it up here, independence and environmental aids. So much talk about smart home tech. I went to a smart home, a smart house the other day. The entire thing was rigged to be accessible. And one of the things I saw was that they hooked up an Alexa with smart lights. So you would say, "Hey Alexa, I want to make mac and cheese." And Alexa would say, "Okay, go get a pot." And then the lights under the pot cabinet would light up. And so it would take somebody through the steps of how to do that. Great for somebody with cognitive disability, with intellectual disability, right? Down syndrome population. That's awesome. So many things with Alexa. Hey, Alexa, good night. She'll shut your blinds, turn your thermostat up, that sort of thing. Smart microwaves, appliances that are voice controlled. I have a Brava oven in my office where it cooks food but with light instead of heat, so the outside doesn't get hot. The top of the oven is just touch screen, so it'll lead you through how to make something. And there's trays with zones. So zone one, you put your chicken. Zone two, you can put veggies, and the light will cook things, as far as they need to be cooked separately. Great because it reduces burn risk while teaching folks with intellectual disability how to safely cook and meal prep. It can be rigged with voiceover. So somebody who's completely blind, it will read off instructions instead of having to like look and to go through recipes. There are like tons and tons of things. And that kind of leads me to the ARC of Washington County is doing amazing work. They have their complete smart home. I went out and visited, and man, I was blown away. So the top level is a smart home. They have a bottom level just for caregivers. So folks with disabilities can come stay the weekend and try out smart home tech, but still kind of have that safety net of family downstairs. They want to try out being independent, but it may not be perfect. So we don't want to just like throw somebody into something on their own. So caregivers can kind of hang out downstairs and be there if they need something. They also have an amazing guide to potential goals on their website. So if you're looking for more in-depth, hey, what are like home-based assistive tech solutions that are out there? They have a great resource guide for that. And then lastly, I kind of touched on this, but Pennsylvania does have the Tech Accelerator program here. They include an organizational assessment tool to help companies plan out AT readiness. So there's a big push to like, hey, how do we start with technology? How do we keep assistive tech first? Well, to do that, we have to know that an organization is ready to. And so there's an assessment tool that companies can take together as a team to figure out where are the pitfalls of service delivery. Are we ready to be tech first here? How can we change that? That sort of thing. Okay, lovely. So, that is all I have for you. I always feel like I throw the whole kitchen sink, even when I try to organize and be, try to water things down. So please, anything you have, questions, concerns, put in the chat. My phone and email are there. And Guy, do you recommend that I stop sharing my screen so that we can move into the Q&A section?
Yeah, please do. That would be great. Yeah, so thank you so much, Becca. That was just so much great information, um, just a wealth of information for people. We have sort of run, our docket here time-wise, just so that the people on the call, this webinar has been recorded, so it would be posted to the TASH YouTube channel along with the resources that Becca has shared with us today. You'll receive an email as a participant notifying you when the video is available and when it's been posted on the TASH YouTube channel. So, and we hope that you share this with other people as well. But Betsy, are there a few questions that you have?
We had two questions. One was, Becca, for people who might be joining us from outside of Pennsylvania. It was kind of a two-pronged question. One was, how can people access a list of, what their local AT center might be, which I can put in the chat. And then the other piece was, does TechOWL do any consulting, for other areas?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, AT3 Center is where you go to find the state by state resource. So check that out. And then as Far as consulting, yes. I'd be happy to work with anybody. Sometimes I work with like architect organizations on accessibility. Sometimes I'm working one-on-one with just, hey, let's consult to see maybe what your needs are. Please just email or call me. Even if I can't help you, I can get you to a resource that can. So reach out anytime.
Great, thank you. And I'm just putting that link in the chat. And then someone asked, can you give some tips on someone having a device to maintain and troubleshoot? And this is a question from Colleen. Colleen, if you want to come off mute and ask that question.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you have any tips for people. So once they have a device and they're using it, and then maybe they need assistance in troubleshooting, programming, wear and tear, maintenance, whatever. Are there any places that they can get help for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, great question, Colleen. So TechOWL cannot provide support for that because you already have a device. So that's more of like ongoing training. I would recommend number one, always touching base with the manufacturer, especially when it comes to communication devices. There's often reps in each county that can come out and help you with any, errors or troubleshooting. But I do want to plug a local organization called Inglis, Inglis. Think of them as like the ongoing assistive tech therapy. So if you have a device, but you need help on how to use it, you're not sure if it's best for you anymore, they can sit down with you, provide an assessment, or show you how to use the device. TechOwl is more of short-term, quick grant-funded resources. Inglis is more assessments and long-term help to gain operational competence with a device.
Thanks so much, Becca. That's great. Betsy's going to put into the chat. There's an evaluation, a survey we'd like you to fill out. If you get a chance to do that now, that would be wonderful. If not, we will certainly send it to you with the other materials. We really want to take this opportunity to again thank Becca very much for the presentation. We really thank everybody for joining us today. We hope this was worth your time. And again, you'll have the recording of this so you can share it with others as well. So, Becca, thanks so much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.